Back. Let's continue in our look at Deuteronomy 32 verses 46 to 47. It says, "Take to heart all the words I have solemnly declared to you this day, so that you may command your children to obey carefully all the words of this law. They are not just idle words for you, they are your life. By them you will live long in the land you are crossing the Jordan to possess." Now, we've asked a bunch of questions. We've discovered the meaning of some words. But what should we ask next for us to get more out of the text that's there? Well, there's three simple questions we should be asking. What does the text say? What does the text do? And what does the text mean? As Deuteronomy 32 says this, "Take to heart all the words I have solemnly declared to you this day." It says, take into your body, your soul, your mind and heart the words which God has spoken to you through Moses. He has declared them to the Hebrews as they are about to enter Canaan. This is to be their home after 500 years of captivity, wanderings, privation and sufferings. What has been said in full. It has been declared to the people, and they must listen to it or they will lose their lives, both physically and spiritually. He goes on to say, so that you may command your children to obey carefully all the words of this law. You see, God didn't want his chosen people to go adrift. If you think about it, because they were wandering in the desert, they had become accustomed to not having the comforts of life. And with the law, it would guide them so that they might keep and know God and keep his law. God knew as soon as they entered the promised land that they would become seduced by its pleasures and gifts, by the people who lived within its borders and outside of them. They needed laws to keep their lives focused upon him. They needed to appreciate that God, of who and what he was and what he had given them. It says carefully. I wonder if you've ever considered looking at the word care. Care means to be anxious, have regard for, or liking. Look after, be disposed to, pay careful attention to, take great pains for, heed, have caution for. It's a powerful statement in a single word, isn't it? Care, anxious, regard, liking, look after, be disposed to, pay attention, take great pains. They are not just idle words for you, they are your life. By them you will live long in the land you are crossing the Jordan to possess. The words that God gave to the Hebrew nation are not idle ones. They must be listened to, and they must have a place of importance in their lives. Leaving these words behind means they will die, spiritually and physically. And the people did lose their way. They did leave God. And we see in the consequence in the rest of the Old Testament that eventually they entered a new captivity. Idle means unemployed, laziness, useless, vain, groundless, or waste. Ignoring God and his word means that we become all these things, and we do not become what God wants and what he has planned for us. So, what should we now ask next? We have examined the text, and we can now put ourselves into the place of those Israelites. If you think about it, they'd been wandering in the wilderness for 40 years. They had been absent from their home and land for almost 500 years. They'd been wandering, and many of them had been born in that wilderness. And they've seen God's manifestation every day with a pillar of fire at night and a pillar of smoke by day. The people ate manna and quail, and have seen water sprout from the very rocks by the leaders who were instructed by God what to do. They've been led by a mighty leader who was called Moses. God spoke through Moses and gave others instruction via Moses on how people should lead their lives. God is very real to you at this point. God is speaking to you through a leader who has freed you from captivity, and God has used this leader mightily, and you now know he's about to die. It's very likely that you'll be confused and frightened by this. At this point, Spend some time thinking about and perhaps feeling what it would be like to lose a leader that's been taking care of you for the last 4 decades. What thoughts and emotions would have gone through your mind? Try to think or feel that all you have known is about to be turned on its head, that you're about to lose your stability of your situation. You're being asked to make a leap of faith, to go somewhere new without this leader. So think about those questions that we asked right at the beginning of this particular section. What does the text say, therefore, to you? What does the text do for you? And what does the text mean to you? This now means we can put the text into context of our own lives. We can discover what God is trying to say to us. Perhaps we've been asked to make a decision. Perhaps there's a leader who's about to leave us, or a new one coming in. Change. How do we feel about that? Finally, thinking back to our original thoughts about the importance of God's words and its place in our lives, I wonder what now that God's word has in your life. Is God's word important to you? Remember what God said. He said that if you place no importance on it, if you don't study it, if you don't treasure it, if it has no impact on you, then you lose your life both physically and spiritually. God desires to lead you to a place that's full of milk and honey. But I wonder if you desire that. I wonder if you understand that this is what God is trying to do for you. Well, I hope that was a reasonable introduction for you for the first Bible study in Deuteronomy that we've taken from the book 12. In the coming sessions, we'll look at other studies. The next one's on revival that the Israelites went through.